So this section is all about importing brushes into Procreate. You've probably already noticed that Procreate has a ton of brushes that we can use, but you're always going to be finding yourself thinking, if only I could use something else. Or maybe you stumbled upon some cool brushes online and you're thinking, wow, that'd just be fun to play with. And there's a lot of power in these brushes, so it's definitely worth checking out some of the resources out there. And I think the best place to start is Procreate's forums. So let me open Safari. Gonna swipe up from the bottom here, gonna tap on Safari, and I've already searched for Procreate forums. It's called Procreate Discussion. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that, load up the page. Lots of cool illustration going on here. There's two places to look for brushes. One is Marketplace, which is for paid brushes. There's some really good stuff in there. And the other one is down here on the side. This is Resources. First of all, let me tap on Marketplace. And you can see here, if you want to sell brushes or if you want to buy brushes, this is the place to do it. And I think this is kind of cool that Procreate has given people who have created cool brushes an opportunity to sell and make some money off their work. But if you're thinking, I just want to play around and test this out, don't worry. There are a lot of free brushes available in the resources section. So here we have a whole list. Sometimes people are asking for certain brushes. Sometimes people are offering certain brushes. And I'm going to tap on this, brushes for space art. And oftentimes they'll have some images here. It looks like these aren't loading. Some of them are loading of what these brushes can actually do. So that's kind of cool. If I scroll down here, we see Starfield brush, Starfield 2 brush. We have all of these different brushes available to us. If it says dot brush, that means I can just tap on that, and what it's going to do is it's probably going to open in a new tab. Yep, and one of the options is open in Procreate. Sometimes people will put these in Dropbox or somewhere else, which is fine. That'll just redirect you to Dropbox. Then you have to save it to your iPad, go to that file and open it up. But your iPad should recognize that you have a .brush file, and that should be opened in Procreate. So I'm going to go ahead and say open in Procreate, and easy peasy, I now have that brush. I have an imported tab here, and now let me switch to a color we can actually see, and now I can draw with this nice nebula brush. That's huge. Let me shrink that down. That's too small. Let me make it middle size. I'll figure this out. Yeah, so you could do some cool space effects with something like that. Black on white doesn't look too pretty, but I think if you use your imagination, you can get some really neat stuff going on there. Now, I have attached brushes to this lesson. Let me open up Safari one more time here, and I already have it open. This is my course. This is getting really meta. I have a picture of my course while you are watching my course. So I have added Brad's Gradients, which is a set of brushes that I created that lets me make gradients any shape and size that I want. I've attached them to lesson 23 and 25. Right now you're probably on lesson 25. So if I tap on that zip file, let's see what it's going to do for me. Since the only way Udemy would let me upload a file, it doesn't recognize the .brush extension. I had to do it with a zip file. So you are going to have to open it first. I have a program called iZip that lets me open up my zip files. I chose iZip because it's free, but there's dozens of programs that'll let you unzip on the iPad. Anyway, I'm going to go open an iZip. It's going to open that up for me, and it's going to take a second. And it says, would you like to extract all the files? I'm going to say, yes, please. Okay. There we go. So now I see that brush set. I'm going to tap on that brush set. Gives me some options. I'm going to say open in. It should give me some more options. And one of the options is copy to Procreate, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to tap on that, copy to Procreate. And lo and behold, let's change my color here so we could see it. What do I have here? I have Brad's Gradients, so I can tap on them. And now I have these fun gradient brushes, and I can just come in here and tap. I can put a gradient down. I can actually come in here, change the color because it's transparent. So let me grab another one here. I could grab that, put it in the center. Whoops. And if I tap anywhere, it does center gradients. So that's kind of fun. You can see it overlaps that. I'm going to undo those. There's one more thing you could do. Since this is pressure sensitive, if you're using an iPad stylus, you can apply more pressure and make it bigger or smaller. But one thing I like to do is after I lay it down, sometimes I'll spread it out so it takes up the whole canvas, and I can use the move tool to resize that to the size I need it to be. Anyway, the gradient brushes really do come in handy for a lot of the stuff I do. One of the nice things about importing and exporting brushes is Procreate has added the ability to export an entire set. So instead of exporting these brushes one by one, I can tap on any of those, and one of the options is share, and then it says export. So I can save to my files. I would probably save it to Dropbox because that's what I use for a lot of my work. My other option is that I have an iMac, so I could drag my brushes and just airdrop them that way and save them. So I can back up my brushes before I switch to a new iPad, for example. And then on my Mac, I could airdrop to this iPad all of my brushes and my brush sets, and it's going to automatically find them. So it's really nice, and it's a nice way to import and export brushes pretty quickly. So that's importing and exporting brushes. If you want to have fun some afternoon and just play with Procreate a little bit, I'd definitely check out some of the forums and free brushes available, because a lot of those are going to spur some really creative ideas and different things that you could do with this program that you otherwise may not have ever thought to do.